Hello everybody, and welcome to our annual end of the year top 10 K-pop album songs, music videos of 2018. Honestly guys, this is probably one of my favorite videos that we make, like video series that we make on this channel, and I really do hope you guys enjoy these as well. Really quick, Jordan and Jerron are also both going to be talking about this in their videos. I think you guys maybe noticed how we kind of slowed down here at the end of the year. We weren't releasing as much, and that's pretty much just due to like us getting really busy this year, and because of that, that's going to be carrying into next year, which unfortunately means we are definitely not going to be regularly uploading next year. We're probably not going to be uploading that much at all. Jordan was, they just have their own personal stuff that they need to do. They're going back to school full time. We do have lives outside of this. I will be getting a second job, and I will be starting in school as well. So that's why, me and Jerron, he also has a second job, which takes up a lot of his time. So this upcoming year, it's going to be a lot less than what we used to be uploading. We probably will be mainly only doing big comebacks. We won't be doing like reacting to just everything that comes out. It just honestly all depends on what our schedules look like, because if you guys know, Jerron and I, we don't live together. We live separate. We both live, we live in the same town, but we both have different schedules. We both work different times. It just, doesn't mash up sometimes, and we don't always have the time to, make a video. So I just wanted to give you guys just a little heads up of, of the future of Kpjaw, I guess you could say. We appreciate how, the people who subscribe to us, who look forward to our reactions. We do love making videos, we do, but life gets in the way of that, and the channel isn't our top priority. We don't make money from it. We made this channel for fun. We made because we all liked reaction videos, and we thought, let's make our own, and what better way to do it than K-pop, which we all were a fan of already. So this channel isn't like our livelihood, but we just come on here when we can and upload videos because we know we enjoy it, you guys enjoy it. So, that's pretty much all I have to say. I'm sorry if you guys, this upcoming year you don't see us reacting to things that you want us to react to, but we just can't do it. We really just don't have the time, and I really do hope you guys understand that. So enough with all of that. I really just want to jump into my top 10 K-pop albums of 2018. I love this because as a very avid K-pop album collector, it's the biggest collection that I have. I think before we get into my top 10 K-pop albums of 2018, I do want to also say that my criteria has really upped itself this year. Before, my criteria was mainly just no single albums. The album has to have like more than two tracks. I can't just only get 2 tracks, just isn't an album to me. So it has to have more than 2 tracks. I'm only doing K-pop. I can't do Chinese pop, J-pop, like nothing. Like, so that means no Lay's album, no Japanese releases this year. Like, I wish I could add Lay's album here because that was an amazing album, but it's not going to be included in this. Also, I cut off my date to add albums at November. So November was the last time I, finalized my list, which means December does not include Love Shot, the repackage, and Onu's album Voice. Like I said, my list was finalized at the end of November because I knew I was filming in December. That's why you do not see those 2 albums on this list. I hope you guys understand that. It's just the criteria I have. And also, the only way these albums made it onto my list was because I liked every single track off the album. If there was at least 1 track I did not like off an album, it didn't make it. It most likely made it into my honorable mentions, but it did not make it into my top 10. So let's go ahead and jump into my list. Starting with number 10 is none other than Blooming Days by EXO-CBX. Here are the albums. My favorite song off of these albums is Sweet Dreams. I absolutely adore that track. I really just love the concept of this album, Blooming Days. It was just, the title track was absolutely amazing. Some of the best choreo they've ever had, honestly. EXO-CBX never fails to disappoint me. Well, hello. Ignore this. It's my still my nighttime care routine. Really quick, just wanted to clarify, I did not mean that they never fail to disappoint me. I meant they never fail to impress me. I don't know why I fucking said that. So that's what I meant. Let's just go ahead and jump back into the video. So you obviously you don't want to see this anymore, so just clarification. Whether it be with their Korean comebacks or their Japanese comebacks, I love their Japanese comebacks. The Japanese albums are absolutely amazing. The concept, the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, like just the whole week concept was, I loved it. The colors, the aesthetics of the music videos, it was just absolutely amazing, and that's why I definitely made it into my top 10. Now moving on to my number 9 is none other than Queen Yuri and her album The First Scene. Guys, this album blew my mind. I was so excited for this album, and when it finally released, I was just blown away. Like, you saw our album reaction. This album was just out of this world. My favorite song being C'est La Vie, still is C'est La Vie. I love that song. This album was on repeat since it came out, and she just did an amazing job. Her concept, her fashion, everything about this solo debut was just like, it was perfect. It was so Yuri, it was so mature, it was amazing, and that's why it is my number 9 on this list. Moving on to number 8 is none other than Square Up by BlackPink. Now, I will say, BlackPink does release amazing music, and I feel like, we were waiting so long for new music, and when they finally released this album, I know some people had a love-hate relationship with it, but I absolutely loved this album. My favorite song being See You Later. Oh my gosh. See you later, maybe never. Like, it was just, so good. Do is just like such an amazing title track. I think I said, I might have said this in our music video reaction, like, it has one of Lisa's best raps, and even Jennie, like, her rap, she absolutely killed it. Like, Rose with her vocals, Jisoo with her vocals, they are just so talented, and I'm so happy they released this album this year. It was just absolutely amazing. Like, this one specifically, this album, I chose this version just because it looks so elegant in it. I just love the darker tones of it. The album packaging is absolutely amazing. I just absolutely love it, and that's why it's my number 8. Now moving on to my number 7 on my list is none other than Really Bad Boy by Red Velvet. Now, this album just barely made my cutoff for the month of November, since, like I said, December I didn't include any comebacks because I needed everything done in November. This album just barely made the cut, because right upon first listen, I knew this has to be on my top 10. I know it's literally like November 30th, but I had one spot open and I had to put it in there because this was just the best mini that they've released. It was just so amazing. The vocals, the production, everything behind this album was absolutely amazing. And of course, my favorite song off this album is none other than Butterflies. It was my number 1 in our album reaction. Still is my number 1. Still believe this is one of the best B-sides they've ever had, and I'm sticking by that because it is absolutely amazing, and there is a reason why it made it in to my top 10 list as my number 7. Moving on to my number 6, which is none other than Warning by Sunmi. My favorite song off this album, honestly, I just could not choose my favorite track, so it's literally just between Siren, the title track, and Black Pearl. I absolutely love this album. I was just so impressed with Sunmi. This album is a legit masterpiece. Like, I really don't know how to explain it. It just, this album is beautiful. The photo book, beautiful. The hollow, what do you call it? It's like the bookmark where if you like turn it, it's like a different photo. I don't know how to describe it, but it came with one of those. Absolutely beautiful. Photo card, absolutely beautiful. This album was just packed full of highly produced songs with her beautiful voice, with just, I really highly recommend you guys listen to this album if you have not listened to it yet. And that is the reason why it definitely made it into my list as my number 6. Moving on to my number 5 is none other than Symphony by NCT 2018.
Empathy.
Here are the albums. NCT released a lot this year. We all know that, but I really had to pick and choose, and the reason why I chose NCT, the 2018, their album, is because everyone was on it. All the units were on it. Absolutely love this album. My favorite song on this album is Yesterday. That's probably one of the best B-sides they have. Like, that song just blows my mind with Doyoung, Lucas, Taeyeon, Mark. Like, they just did absolutely amazing. It's also one of my favorite music videos they ever released. If you haven't seen the music video, please go check it out. We did a music video reaction to it. Absolutely loved it. The packaging of these albums are absolutely amazing. Just really highly enjoyed this album, even though the track list was slightly disappointing, just the songs they added. But that doesn't mean I didn't love every song on this album, because I do. I love every song on this album, but I wish we could have gotten other songs in place of songs we've heard before. But I did not let that ruin the album for me, because at the end of the day, I do love every song on this album. It's just the track list was a little disappointing, just like I said, with the added songs that we've heard before. But they did amazing. They really did, as NCT 2018, but that many members releasing this amount of amazing songs, it just didn't disappoint, and that's why I definitely made it as my number 5 in my list. We've reached the top 5 with NCT 2018, and now it's time to move on to my number 4, which is none other, Poet Artist by Jonghyun. I'm gonna try not to cry doing this part, but this album was amazing. He created such a legacy for himself, not only through his group promotions, group albums, but just as a solo artist. And this album was no less than perfection. When it came out, yes, it was hard to listen to, because, you know, what happened was still fresh and it still hurt, but this album honestly did help me heal. I'm sure it helped a lot of other SHINee World fans heal. You know, it's just, you can just tell he put his heart and soul into this album. And my favorite song off this album is Rewind. That song just took me back, honestly. Like, everything about that song was just absolutely perfection, and I just love this album. I really do. I don't really know what else to say, because I really treasure this album. I really do, and I'm just so happy we were able to hear it, and I'm so happy they released it. I love you, Jonghyun. Thank you for everything. Thank you for your beautiful music, and just thank you so much for this album. For my number 3 of this album is none other than the perfect follow-up, Story of Light by SHINee. Now, if I would probably, you know, just put on the list, you know, the final one, which has all the songs on it, but I didn't want to show all of them, because how beautiful is this? Like, just with them together, it's just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous, with the primary colors. These were just masterpieces of albums, and if I had to choose my favorite track, it'd probably be the first How track they released, which was Good Evening. And that is just because I just feel like that song, it just was so SHINee to me. Like honestly, like it made me cry because it was just like, it's so SHINee. It's like, I don't have to explain it. SHINee just does certain songs and it just, it's just a SHINee song. But as a SHINee fan, you know, you guys would know it's just like SHINee just puts this SHINee twist to it. It's just hard to explain. But this series of albums was absolutely amazing. You know, it was such an amazing thing for their 10-year anniversary, and you know, I just absolutely love these albums. I remember I just ordered one right after another because I just couldn't wait. I had to get them in my hands, and I am so happy to be the owner of all of these. And like I said, they're absolutely beautiful. This was just an amazing track list of songs. You can just tell they put their heart and soul to all of these. I can't wait to see more from my boys in the future. You know, with Onyu being in the army now, we'll wait for him. We'll wait for him to come back so we can get all of our boys together and hear more beautiful music from them. But from now, we do have our soloist Key, our soloist Taeyeon, and maybe even our soloist Minho. We shall see. Our boy deserves a solo as well, so let's hope for that in 2019. This is something that hasn't happened in my end of the year videos before. They have reigned this #1 since we started this series, but now someone else has taken the throne, but it does not mean that is any less of a good album. So my #2 on this list, Don't Mess Up My Tempo by EXO. I actually have like 4 more of these on my shelf because I just went crazy at Target. But I also have my other OT9 version hopefully shipping out on the 25th. I think that's when it's being released. But honestly, as you guys will see as my #1, it literally took me like almost a whole month to really figure out what I wanted my #1 to be. And when I did choose, I unfortunately did have to push Don't Mess Up My Tempo down to #2. I'll explain more why when I announce my #1 on my list. And I'm sure by now you guys probably already have an idea of what it's going to be. But this album was one of the best EXO albums they released. This is one of the, like, I'm gonna say right now, it did not beat Exodus, but it is squeezing its way into my top 3 albums, and that is going to be difficult to do. But like I said, I'm gonna let this age a little longer, but honestly, it is one of the best albums they ever released. My favorite song is 24/7. Yes, it changed in our album first listen. It was Gravity, but now 24/7 has taken my heart. It has taken everything from me. In love with that song. I'm in love with this album. I am in love with the concept, with my boys. Everything about this album was absolute perfection. And if you haven't listened to it, why? Like, you smell. Why haven't you listened to this? Because it was one of the best K-pop releases of 2018. And I'm not saying that as a biased EXO, because I'm not. As you can see, I listen to a wide variety of music, and there is a reason why this is in my top 5, and that's also the reason why it is my #2. We have made it to the end of the list, and before I announce my #1, I'm pretty sure you guys know by now what the #1 on my list is, and I will also explain after I announce it why it definitely made it into my top 1, and that is none other than Plus Plus by Loona. Okay, this is why it made it into as my #1, and why, you know, it had such a hard time figuring out if I wanted Don't Mess Up My Tempo or this. The reason why this made it into my top 1 is because to me this is the most anticipated debut of 2018. You guys know, if you know you're in orbit, or if you are just you're just getting into the fandom, how large their pre-debut run was. It was one of the best things I think ever that has ever happened in K-pop. They did what they did, and they did an amazing job, and they really built that shit up so good. And to release this album and for it to be it's in my top 10 best debut albums of all time. It's in my top 10 best just debuts of all time. Like, I don't think you guys understand how amazing this album is. And my favorite track off this album, which is very hard to choose, but it's the first track I always listen to when I listen to this album, and that is Hi Hi, one of the title tracks. This song like honestly brings me to tears whenever the bridge hits and Chu does her high note. I don't think you understand, like has to be one of my favorite K-pop songs of all time. Oh god, this, for something that was so hyped and for it to live up to the standards we all low-key we're holding it to, like it passed my standards, it passed my expectations. It did the most, and it did the most beautifully. I cannot put into words how much I love this album, how much I look forward to future releases from this amazing girl group. And guys, I really do hope you also see why this made it as my #1. That's it. That's my top 10 of 2019. And I know there might be some albums you guys were shocked not to see maybe in my top 10, but they most likely are in my honorable mentions. And it's like I said in the beginning, it's probably because there was at least 1 or 2 tracks off the album that just didn't age well with me over time, or just didn't really stick to me as much as it did upon first listen. I'm gonna just go ahead and just go straight into my honorable mentions. This is in no particular order. This is no ranking. This is just a list with no, like I said, no ranking behind it. They're just in random order. And I really do hope you guys enjoyed that, and I will see you after that. That was my honorable mentions. There were so many comebacks this year. To me, this year was a year of amazing comebacks and a year for girl groups. That's how I saw this year. Album didn't make it onto this list. Just know that's not a dig at the artists. That's not like, oh my god, they're flops. Like, no. It's just what I feel, and I'm sure that the albums that didn't make it onto this list, some other people, there are people who like that album, and like I said, everyone just has their own opinions on albums. This just happens to be the albums I enjoyed this year. And I wish, like I said, I wish I could add so many more albums, but I really just had to choose the ones that really stood out to me. And these were those albums. Yes, I really do hope you guys enjoyed this top 10. And I really do hope you guys enjoyed Jordan's and Jerron's. And go and support, because like I said, I don't know when we're going to be next uploading. I really do hope you guys enjoyed this year of K-pop, because I know I did. And I cannot wait for the next upcoming year. And I cannot wait to extend my album collection. I really hope you guys enjoyed my top 10. Go ahead and, in the comments down below, leave what your top 10 albums of this year were. Maybe even throw in some honorable mentions like we do. Thank you so much for supporting Kpjaw, guys. I know we're, still a relatively smaller channel. We've only been around, I think, oh my god, I think maybe a year and a half. I'm so bad. I don't even remember. I just want to thank you guys so much for supporting us. And I really do hope you guys enjoy this end of the year series. Also, Merry Christmas. I'm not sure exactly when this is going to be uploaded, but if it's before Christmas, Merry Christmas. If it's after Christmas, still Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all that great stuff. Don't forget to follow us on our social media. All the links are in the description down below, as well as our end screen. And I guess with that being said, we'll see you guys. Bye.